Being a working mother can lead to feelings of guilt and stress since our attention needs to be balanced between work and family life. Rather than feeling guilty about it and thinking about how you are not home with your child, think about how your time at work is benefiting your family. For example, by affording certain classes or educational opportunities for college. Your responsibility can also be delegated by asking family members or friends for references for nannies and babysitters and good daycare centers. Here are some tips on how to strike a perfect balance. Make mornings easier by getting organized the night before. Create a family schedule and complete any tasks allowing you ahead of time, allowing you to spend more time with the kids, for example, eating breakfast in the morning without a rush. Create a family calendar. It's important to chart out your family priorities, including dates, a list of chores, and school and family events, and any extracurricular activities. If everyone's updated on the activities, this may help eliminate surprises during the week. Communicate with your employer. Be open and honest about any possibilities of flexible working arrangements. Create a working schedule showing your employer that this arrangement will not restrict your productivity. It's important to stay connected during the day with your kids. Even if you are not with your children, you can consider recording yourself through videos or voice recordings. If you might have to miss out on your child's event, consider giving them a good luck charm before the event. You can also call them to check up on their day before you get home. When you get home, it's important to limit distractions and give your full attention to your child by limiting screen time. Make time for your kids during the week and weekends so both of you can do activities together that you enjoy together and make them fit into your weekly schedule. The particular activity itself does not matter as long as you are doing it together. It's also important to nurture your relationship with your partner despite being packed with a busy home and a busy schedule at work. The most important is to create moments for yourself. Fit in me time by taking care of your personal needs, for yourself to be relaxed and be effective in your parenting and in your motherhood. You have to get enough rest, and you have to do simple things that sometimes we tend to neglect doing, such as self-care, sleep, any activity that helps you feel well rested and that will recharge your battery so you can also give that energy that you want to your children. Presence is of essence with your children, so it's not just about quantity, it's also about quality. So being there by being distracted will not help your children. You recharge first so you can be present for them.
Yeah. Okay, so today I would like to talk about an exercise that I explain and give to some of my clients who mainly struggling and experiencing burnout or struggling with a balance in work and life. And this exercise is actually created by Dr. Raymond Hamden, and it's based on the 4 areas of every human's life that is equally important: work, play, love, and ethos. And the exercise is that these 4 areas as your basis, and then the exercise purpose is to define each of them from your personal point of view. So what is the meaning of work? What to you? What is the meaning of play to you? What is the meaning of love? And each of them can have subcategories as well for their definition. And ethos is your living principles, your value system, maybe you have a religious background. So when you define each of these areas personally, it's almost like a navigational system, and you then can check whether your current life is reflecting those definitions. If it's not, then that means there's a gap, and that gap needs to get closed or work towards to closing it, and that means making certain decisions and adjusting. So yeah, it's very helpful to have that bit of navigational system where you create your own personal definitions of each of these four areas. And yeah, if the gap is too far between the definition and what is going on in your life, then that if that goes on for too long, then that can create burnout, and that's what you want to prevent. So yeah, when you're aware and define these four areas, it makes it much more likely that that you're aiming towards certain things and you're working towards them, which in itself, the process of doing that is the solution to burnout, is to close that gap between your definition and what's really going on. So for example, let's say you hypothetically you have the definition of work being having an income, and at the moment you don't have a job and you're not even making an effort to find a job. That means that there is a huge gap between what your definition is and what's actually happening in action. And if there is no either planning towards that definition, or actually redefining your definition or reevaluating your current definition, without any of these two options of courses of action, then you will end up in a burnout situation. Yeah, that's an example to explain how burnout can be created from this gap between your personal definition of an area and what's really going on in your life, and what actions and things you do on a daily basis.
Work-life balance. The idea of work-life balance is obviously balancing work life as well as personal life. So when I think of work-life balance, though, I try not to think of it as balancing work life and personal life almost like a 50-50. Instead, I'm thinking of it more in terms of priorities and in terms of values or your wants. So think of a value like something like, for instance, authenticity or genuineness or spending time with family. These are values that you have that are very important to you. Versus your priorities in life might be something like work, making sure finances are taken care of. It could even be something like laundry, for instance. Ultimately, what you need to think of when it comes to work-life balance is balancing these things, making sure that you're able to take care of everything in your life, the things that you need to do and the things that you want to do, but you do it in a way that you actually are quite present and committed in the moment. So it's not that you're spending time with family because that's a value, but at the same time in the back of your head you're thinking of work, or you're thinking of doing the laundry, or vice versa. When you're sitting with your friends, you're thinking of doing something else. It's really about dedicating yourself to the moment that you're in, wherever you are, be it at work, be it at home, or even just with yourself. So when I think of the idea of work-life balance, I'm really thinking of being present in the moment in whatever I'm doing without any consideration of anything else. Because right now, this is important to me. This is my priority, but this could also be my value.
Hi guys. Okay, so today I'm going to talk to you about work-life balance, but from a slightly different perspective. I can sit here today and give you tips on what you could do to create work-life balance, but in reality, if you don't actually believe that you need work-life balance, any tips I give you won't work. Because you can sit there, you can schedule time for yourself, for your family, and all of this, but if there's no real conviction and buy-in, then chances are you won't actually follow through. What I'd like to see you do is actually succeed. I don't really want to set you up to fail. I want to set you up so you can succeed and have the work-life balance that you believe you need. At the end of the day, work-life balance is very subjective. So I'm going to ask you 4 questions, and I would like you to ask yourselves those 4 questions. Each question, you probably want to give yourself about a good 5 to 10 minutes to think about or to actually answer them. And from that, you should get a certain level of insight on exactly what work-life balance means to you. So question number one is, what would happen if you did create a work-life balance in your life? Question number two, what would happen if you didn't create work-life balance in your life? Question three is, what wouldn't happen if you did create work-life balance in your life? And question four is, what wouldn't happen if you didn't create work-life balance in your life? I know it's a little bit of a tongue twister and a brain twister, but what you want to do is just think about it for a little bit and try to understand the magnitude of the question, to try to see work-life balance from a 360 approach, to really see what you would be missing if you had it, or sorry, if you didn't have it, but what would you also be gaining if you did have it. Once you have all of that created and answered, that's when you would really create that conviction within you and that buy-in, and you can then define what are the things you need in your life to develop the balance that you're looking for. Once all of that is created, any tip, any strategy, any approach that you implement will surely work. You will find below a link to the worksheet with all the questions that were mentioned in today's videos to help you identify what your work-life balance is. Enjoy!